Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to share one of my favorite easy makeup hacks. It's how to create an easy, soft wing eyeliner. Wing eyeliner is such a great technique to elongate the eye and to lift the eye. It can be a little intimidating sometimes to create that perfect wing. Sometimes we worry that if we mess up one eye, then our makeup's shot. So I'm going to share a really easy technique that anyone can do, and it's really particularly great for those of you who don't want a really dramatic wing, but maybe you want more of a natural, softer wing that gives a subtle lift to the eye, but not necessarily the focus of the makeup. So let's go ahead and get started. So first I am going to apply a little bit of eyeshadow. I'm going to keep the eyeshadow pretty bare just to really show this technique and show how it looks, how it lifts the eye. So I'm going to start with the Danessa Myricks Color Fix. This is the shade Nude 4, and I'm going to use this all over my lid. I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit of this product onto the hand. This is one of my favorite products. You can use it as an eyeshadow, you can use it as an eyeshadow primer, you can actually put these on the lips and cheeks, depending on the color. I'm gonna go in with the Angie Hot and Flashy BK Beauty Concealer Brush, and I'm actually just going to apply that onto the lid with the brush. But then I'm gonna take my finger and I'm gonna shear it out. And some days I just use my finger, I don't use a brush. I just want a little bit more precision today. So I'm packing it on with the brush. This brush is the perfect size to pack this product onto the lid. And I'm just gonna take my finger and shear it out. I'm adding a little bit more. I want that product to be pretty opaque. Perfect. So that, as you can see, is a natural skin tone. It's a little bit lighter than my skin tone, so it slightly brightens the eye. It cancels out any discoloration or darkness on the lid, and it just creates a nice, even, bright canvas. Next, I'm going to apply a really light shadow underneath my brow. I'm using the BK Beauty 202 brush, and I'm using the Sophisticate palette from Charlotte Tilbury. It's a little quad palette. I'm just going to brighten up the brow bone to lift and subtly highlight. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of definition in the crease. I'm going to go in with this matte shade right here. You can also use your bronzer. Any matte brown shade that's slightly deeper than your skin tone will work. As you notice, I'm looking directly into the mirror. I'm not tilting my head back. I'm not closing my eyes and trying to get right in my crease. I'm looking directly into the mirror, and I am applying this shadow just above my crease. So not necessarily in my crease, but just above. And I'm just gonna kind of windshield wiper it back and forth to soften and blend that out. Once I've got most of the shadow onto the lid, what I'll do is I will lift the brush, kind of turn it upside down like this. That way the fibers kind of diffuse that shadow up. That'll also lift the eye. It creates what I like to call a halo of definition just above the crease. This is just going to be a really clean, classic, simple eyeshadow look. So now we are on to eyeliner. What you're gonna need a deep, dark eye kohl pencil. An eye kohl pencil is typically a pencil that is like soft in texture. It's a little bit waxy, so you'll notice when you press it onto the skin, it just glides over so creamy and smooth. Now, the reason you want a kohl pencil and not like a traditional eyeliner pencil is because it's so soft and you can manipulate it and work with it, which you see is the key to this trick. If you don't have a soft pencil that you can do that with, this trick will not work. But you also wanna find an eye pencil that is soft initially, but once it sets, it stays in place. It doesn't move, it doesn't melt, it doesn't migrate. So I personally love the Trish McEvoy Intense Gel Eyeliner. I really love this product. This is the shade Deep Aubergine, so it's not quite black, it's just a really deep kind of plummy brown. You're also gonna need a very small angle brush, and I, of course, love BK Beauty 208, but of course I'm biased. I'm the owner of the brand, and if you didn't know that, I should give that disclaimer. But you can see it's really small. It's very stiff and tiny, but it also has some give to it. You want it to be stiff and firm, but you also want the tip of it to be able to bend a little bit. If it's too stiff and thick, like wide, you're not going to be able to do this trick. So you want to find something small, stiff, but also that the tip has some movement to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm gonna take my pencil, and I did just sharpen it right before this video, so I have a nice little pointy tip here on this pencil. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to lay the pencil on its side, and you're going to begin to create a line on the eye. Now I like to lay it on the side because I have more control. If I use the tip, I find that I tend to make more mistakes. You can always fix mistakes with this trick, so don't worry if you do make a mistake, this is fixable. But I just like the side because I feel like I get a more consistent line. It's easier for me. I find that it's probably easier for most people, but if you have an easier way to apply it, then by all means go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna lay it on side, and I like to start about in the center of my lid, and the reason that I like to do that is because I have smaller eyes. If I start in the inner corner, the chances of that line in the inner corner being too thick are very high. So I want to kind of get my bearings and just get really comfortable by starting in the outer half. And I'm just gently going to sketch a line onto the eye. Once I get pretty comfortable, then I'll come in and I'll take that line as far into the inner corner as I'd like. Okay, so now I have a good line there. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it a little bit thicker out here. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it can be a little messy. What I'm not doing is I'm not pulling that liner down. I'm basically stopping just before my lash line starts to turn down. I'm stopping right before that. I don't wanna bring it all the way down. Okay, and I'm layering a couple of lines on the outer half because I'm going to need the extra product there to glide and move. So then I'm gonna go over with the angle brush, and I am gently basically just gonna kind of run over that line from the inner corner to the outer. This is doing a couple things. This is kind of smoothing it out. This is where you can perfect it. If you have any like little bumps in the line, you can go and smooth it out and perfect it. When you get to this outer corner and you have that buildup of product, that's what you're gonna use to elongate out and create that wing. Now again, I'm pretty much looking straight ahead. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. I don't wanna manipulate the eye too much because I wanna create that wing to look exactly how I want it to look when my eyes are open. And if I'm doing this, squinting my eyes, or I'm pulling my eyes, or I'm, manipulating the eye too much, then it's very difficult to know if that liner is gonna look the way you want it to when you are at a natural face. Go ahead and relax the eye and start to just pull it up. And I have spent a little too much time talking because the product is already starting to dry, so ideally you wanna move quicker than I did. And as you can see, it just creates the nice, softest wing. It's a very subtle look. It's more obvious before you put mascara on. Once you put mascara on, then the line kind of blends into your mascara lash line, and it just lifts the eye very naturally. Isn't that perfect? I'm gonna go do the other eye and I'll be right back. So now that I have the liner on, I'm gonna add a very soft, subtle shadow underneath the lower lash line. I'm not gonna go in with eyeliner. I want some definition, but I wanna keep it very soft. So I'm just gonna go back in with the shade that I used in the crease and a tiny little pencil brush, and I'm just going to run this underneath the lower lash line. Using a small, dense brush like this is gonna make that shadow look slightly darker than it does in the pan and darker than it does in the crease because this brush picks up and applies more product than a larger, fluffier brush. I want some pretty dramatic lashes since the makeup is a little bit softer, but the liner's pretty strong. I'm gonna go in with the Dior Lash Primer. Next, I'm gonna go and build the lash with the Lights Camera Lashes mascara from Tarte. I do have a discount code for Tarte, by the way. It's a new code that I recently got, so I'll have that down in the description box. I've really been loving this combination lately. I feel like I've fallen in love with a lot of different mascaras over the last year, but I find that depending on the state of my natural lashes, I'll have preferences over different mascaras. When my lashes are naturally long and full and thick, then every mascara is amazing, right? But then when my lashes are shorter and thin or they're shedding and I'm going through that first phase of the growth cycle, it takes the right mascara to get the results that I want. This one's pretty dramatic though. You can build it, but if you get a little too carried away with building it, it can get a little clumpy. But I just love it. I love it. And I love that color of liner from Trish. It's just the perfect alternative to black, especially for green eyes, because there's this subtle hint of plum in it. Even though it looks like a coffee brown, there's this subtle hint of plum that complements green eyes. And this is the finished look. So you can see the wing liner is subtle. You can see it when I turn to the side, but when I'm looking straight ahead, it really just kind of lifts the eye in a very natural way. I hope this video was helpful. I hope that you picked up a tip or trick from this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. And if you try this, come back please and let me know how it worked for you. Reading those comments and the feedback, hearing that something I taught you helped really is what fuels me. I live off of that feedback. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.